Johnny Talk Sports with the Week 5 NFL picks. Last week was an abysmal week, 5 and 10, but I'm going to respond this week like I always do. First, as always, the Thursday night football game. This week it features the Rams and the Seahawks. I've missed 3 in a row with Thursday night football games, and I'm hoping I don't miss 4 in a row. And this is going to be a good matchup. Division rivals going at it on Thursday night. So the Seahawks, they won last week against the Cardinals, and the Rams, they had a shocking upset, or they were the victims of the upset, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Jared Goff doesn't do well on the road. Seahawks on Thursday night, 12th man, possible rain, and I'm going with the Seahawks because this matchup, it seems to favor the running game. And right now, I trust the Seahawks running game more than the Rams because Todd Gurley hasn't gotten that much action. It's possible with the arthritis in his knee is what's holding him back right now. So I'm going to pick the Seahawks. Hopefully I don't go 4 in a row of missing the Thursday night football game. Next, we have the Cardinals and the Bengals. Both of these teams are looking to get their first win of the season, led by 2 first-year head coaches looking to get their first NFL coaching win. The Cardinals have come closer to victory than the Bengals have. The Cardinals have actually forced a draw. But the Bengals, they have not looked competitive all season long. So with that, I'm going to go with Arizona. And possibly Week 16. It could be a matchup between the Miami Dolphins and Cincinnati Bengals, where it's the ultimate tank bowl, where the loser would get the first overall pick. So I'm going to pick Arizona because I really want to see that tank bowl. Next, we have the Bills and the Titans. The Titans, a big win last week against the Falcons. They completely outmanned Atlanta. Marcus Mariota looked like a middle-tier quarterback instead of a low-tier quarterback last week. While the Bills, they competed really hard against the Pats last week, only losing 16-10. But a big reason for why the Bills lost were all those interceptions. So I'm going to pick the Bills to recover this week. I did say that the Bills would eventually get the reality check. And they kind of did get the reality check, but it wasn't a bad loss like I thought it was going to be. The Bills hung in there, and you got to give them credit. But I'm going to pick the Bills this week, but a reality check could still be coming for the Bills. Talking like a blowout loss, but I can't see it this week. I just think the Bills, despite losing last week to the Pats, I think they do have some confidence, considering they only lost by 6 points. Sadly, that's a situation where you think, what if? But right now, Josh Allen is questionable because he left that game early. So whether he plays or not, if he doesn't play, I think Tennessee will probably win. But I'm picking Buffalo because I think Josh Allen is going to play this week. And like I've said earlier in the season, when I make my picks, I commit to them. So regardless, I'm picking Buffalo in this game. I'm not changing a pick here. Next, we have the Bears and the Raiders. Khalil Mack going back to Oakland. And the Bears, they picked up a big win against the Vikings last week where they just dominated defensively. And Mitch Trubisky is out for this game, so they're going to have Chase Daniel start this week. And Chase Daniel, he is a pretty solid starter. I think Chase Daniel is better than any quarterback on the Dolphins or any quarterback on the Bengals right now. I even think that Chase Daniel is potentially better than possibly even Matt Barkley, who's going to be the quarterback for the Bills if Josh Allen can't go. So I'm going to pick Chicago in this game. Despite Oakland coming off a big victory, I just think the Bears, after that week 1 loss, I think we're going to see the Bears get on a hot streak here where they win probably 6-7 games in a row. and I think that win streak continues for Chicago. Next, we have the Buccaneers and the Saints. Both of these teams are coming off big wins last week. The Saints coming off a win on Sunday Night Football against the Cowboys, and the Buccaneers upsetting the Rams. So where do I go with this one? I think Teddy Bridgewater just has the hot hand right now. I'm going to pick New Orleans in this one because New Orleans in New Orleans, dangerous combination. I'm going to pick the Saints. Next, we got the Vikings and the Giants. Daniel Jones, 2-0 as an NFL starting quarterback. It's looking like that Daniel Jones pick, 6th overall in the draft, wasn't a bad idea after all. And I did have my doubts, but right now, Daniel Jones is looking like he could be a long-term starter in the National Football League. While the Vikings, they just got completely outmanned last week by Chicago. But this is the toughest test that Daniel Jones has so far. So I'm going to pick the Vikings to win this one to recover from their loss against Chicago because with Kirk Cousins as a quarterback, it's always night and day with him. And I think Kirk Cousins will be good this week. It seems like every other week. One week Kirk Cousins shines. The other week he flattens. Then the next week he shines. Then the next week he flattens. It seems like a pattern. I'm going to pick the Vikings. Next we have the Jets and the Eagles. The Eagles picked up a huge win on Thursday Night Football last week against the Packers. And the Jets are coming off a bye week. And they're down to Luke Falk as the starting quarterback. They're down to their third quarterback of the season. And I'm going to pick the Eagles. Because I just don't really know what to see out of the Jets. Next we have the Ravens and the Steelers. Huge division rivalry. I'm going to pick the Ravens. Despite the Steelers getting on a run against the Bengals, they just dominated that matchup on Monday Night Football. I think Mason Rudolph has potential in the National Football League. But I just like what I've seen out of Lamar Jackson so far this season. Even though they had that ugly loss against Cleveland last week, I still think the Ravens can recover. Although I will say right now, this could be a game that goes in either direction. Because Mason Rudolph could end up throwing 3 touchdown passes. Maybe even 4 touchdown passes in this game. So this is going to be a pick where I'm not as confident as the other ones. But I am going to pick the Ravens. Next we have the Patriots and the Redskins. Really not much to talk about. The Redskins looking for their first win of the season. Jay Gruden's on the hot seat. While the Patriots are 4-0, about to be 5-0. Picking New England, really nothing else to it. Next we have the Jaguars and the Panthers. And both these teams are led by quarterbacks at this point. They're just becoming their monthly fad in sports. You have Gardner Minshew for the Jaguars, who people only like because he has a mustache. That's literally the only reason why Gardner Minshew is getting this huge fandom right now. If Gardner Minshew had no mustache, nobody would like this guy. He'd just be another wannabe. And Kyle Allen, look, even though I follow Atlanta sports, I've officially given up on the Falcons. There's just really no hope for Atlanta. So I'm just rooting for Carolina. I'm just going to start rooting for division rivals. So I'm going to pick the Panthers to win this one because although Kyle Allen is a former Texas A&M quarterback, I will pick the Panthers. And I don't really want to make a pick at all for this because I've won against both these teams the past 2 weeks, and they've both won. So I felt like whoever I picked in this game, the other team's going to win. So I'm going to pick Carolina, but maybe you want to put your money on the Jaguars. All right, next we have the Falcons and the Texans. And like I just got done saying, I have officially given up on the Atlanta Falcons because there is just no hope for them. Last week they made Marcus Mariota look like a middle-tier quarterback. They made Marcus Mariota look better than what he actually is. In fact, they've actually lost to quarterbacks like Marcus Mariota, Blaine Gabbert, Yeah, the Falcons lost to Blaine Gabbert once upon a time. So I'm going to pick the Texans because, like I was saying, there's just no hope for these Atlanta Falcons. And I tried telling a lot of the Falcons fan base that they just got lucky to play the Eagles in week 2. Because any other week, the Eagles would be crushing the Falcons. So Atlanta should easily be 0-4 right now. And I really do want to make like a video on why the Falcons fans need to give up on their team. But I'm thinking about it. It'll probably be a short one. Probably nothing longer than 4 minutes. Anyway, picking the Texans. Next, we got the Broncos and Chargers. The Broncos are fighting for their first win of the season. They could have had 2 wins already, but the refs just completely, they kind of let that get in the way. Against Chicago and last week against Jacksonville, a roughing the passer penalty, which is very controversial. So I'm going to pick the Chargers because, sadly, I feel like the Broncos right now, I do want to root for Vic Fangio because I think he has potential as a head coach. But it's just not working right now. The Broncos should be at least 2-2 right now. And if you look at the Broncos games this season, all of them have been decided by 1 possession. So I'm going to pick the Chargers, but I think it'll be very close. And what could be one of the best games of the week, the Packers and the Cowboys. And it's probably going to be a same story, different movie kind of deal. It's going to be the where have we seen this movie before? The Cowboys are going to be leading late in the game, but Aaron Rodgers will lead the Packers to a game-winning touchdown drive, taking Green Bay. And Sunday Night Football, we got the Colts and the Chiefs. Really not much to it. Although the Chiefs, they were in a dogfight against the Lions last week, and the Colts got embarrassed by Oakland. So I'm going to pick the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football in Arrowhead. Translation, Chiefs win. And we have the Monday Night Football game between the Cleveland Browns and the San Francisco 49ers. A matchup that I thought was going to be a good one, but then it might not be a good one. Back to we might have a good one again. The Browns, they dominated against the Ravens last week, while the 49ers are coming off a bye week. And you've got 2 quarterbacks that appear to have potential in this league, but they still need to prove themselves. But I'm going to pick the 49ers off the bye week because the 49ers have extra rest on them compared to Cleveland. And finally, we have the Miami Dolphins versus the bye week. The Dolphins, they want to tank for Alabama quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. Will probably be a statement that will be said every week. And to assure that they will get Tua Tagovailoa, they will lose to the bye week. So those are my picks for week 5. I have the Seahawks, Cardinals, Bills, Bears, Saints, Vikings, Eagles, Ravens, Patriots, Panthers, Texans, Chargers, Packers, Chiefs, 49ers, and the bye week, all winning this week. Like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.